part of our project is making a black and white background, which our painted paper will be glued onto later. First, start by writing your name on the back of this paper, and don't forget your class code below. Then you can flip it over, and we're going to start by drawing some lines, which will create our optical illusion. You can decide to have any kind of optical illusion. You need to draw lines that are going in 2 different directions. Now for mine, I'm going to use wavy lines that all converge to this corner or meet in this corner. So I'm starting at the edges of my paper and I'm following the shape to the corner. You can look up some ideas for different types of black and white optical illusions to get inspiration from. I'm trying to be careful here to follow the shape of the first wavy line that I drew. Notice how my sections over here are wider than the ones on this corner. That's going to give the illusion that this area is further back and this is in the front. I'm going to keep drawing these wavy lines until I have filled up my entire paper. Now that I've finished all the wavy lines, I'm going to add lines that go in another direction. So I need lines that will cross these wavy lines. I could choose to do them in a diagonal direction, I could choose vertical, I could choose horizontal. I think what would look best is vertical lines. So I'm going to use a ruler for this step and draw some straight vertical lines that go through my wavy lines. So first, think about what you want to show in your optical illusion. Do you want it to look like something is further back? Do you want it to look like something is moving? And then draw those lines. After, decide which direction your next set of lines are going to go in. I'm just kind of guessing the amount of space that is between each vertical line. I'm going to make it get slightly smaller as I get closer to this side of my paper. That's going to help my illusion even more by making it look like this corner is further back and far away. So I'm going to keep drawing lines until I reach the edge of my paper. So now I have this grid drawn with pencil. Our next step is planning where the black spaces will go. With your pencil, you're going to draw a dot in every other shape. The dot will show you where the black spaces will go, so you will color those in. If you make a mistake, then you can erase it because it's in pencil. We don't want to do our dots with a Sharpie because then we could not erase them. Start in the corner and look for the shape that is in the corner. For mine, it's this tiny little space. I'm going to first put a dot there, so that will be a black space. This will be white. This will be black. White, black, white, whoops. See, then I can erase it. Black, white, black, white, black. Then when I get to my next row, I'm going to start with what is opposite from the last row. So I want my colors to alternate. So I know that this is white, so this one would be black. This would be white, this would be black. White, black, white, black, white, black. You don't want 2 black sections right next to each other or 2 white sections. So if you notice that you have a dot and you're wondering what the section next to it or above it is, then it's going to be the opposite color. So here I have this tiny little space. That would be white, this would be black, because I know this one is white as well. White, black, white, black, white, black, white. I'm going to keep doing dots in my sections until I reach the other side of the paper. Once you've planned where all of your black spaces will go by putting a little dot in every other space, then you can go ahead and outline your lines. I'm going to use a ruler to help me outline the lines that are straight, but for my wavy lines, I'm going to draw them on my own. Once all of your lines are outlined, then you can go ahead and color in the sections that are going to be black. Make sure that you look at which one has a dot and which one does not. And if you're not sure, like right here, I have a little dot, but I think that that's actually a mistake and it's a part of an eraser or a Sharpie mark. So I know that that is supposed to be white. So I'm gonna write a little W there with pencil that I can erase later. If you're not sure, double check the pattern by saying black, white, and check that you have everything correct before you color it in. If you need help with this step, then ask for help. Remember, once you color with Sharpie, it is permanent and you cannot get it off. There are some creative ways that we can fix this if you happen to color an area that isn't supposed to be black. So I'm going to carefully color in each of my sections. We don't want to go across a black line and color in a white section. So be very careful with your coloring. We want to show off our best, neatest coloring skills with this project. Optical illusions are very precise and you need to take your time so that it looks your very best. If you have any large sections on yours, you can use the thicker Sharpie, but again, be very careful that you're not going across the black line and into a space that is supposed to be white. So I'm giving this an outline first, and that way I can fill it in more easily. I would not use the thick Sharpie for the little sections because it's easy to go over the line and it can look a little bit messy then. So only for big areas that you need to fill in. I would also suggest doing this in order of how the sections are. So color in one row at a time and work your way to the other side. Now for these smaller sections up here, I'm using my regular size Sharpie to color these in. This would be pretty hard to do with the bigger Sharpie, and I could easily go outside of the lines. Now that all of my spaces are colored in black, I can go ahead and erase any extra pencil lines that are showing through my artwork. This will make your art look much neater. We want to get rid of any extra lines that aren't needed. You wouldn't want to do this before you've colored in every space because you would have planned with a dot using a pencil, so you might erase some of your planning. So wait to do your erasing until you have finished coloring in all of the black spaces. The next thing I'm going to do is smooth out some of the sections where I colored over the line a little bit. I'm using a regular sized Sharpie for this, and I'm just looking for some of the edges that got a little bit bumpy. Like right here, it's a little bit bumpy, and that bothers me. I want the edges to be as smooth as they can be. So I'm carefully going over each space that looks a little bumpy to smooth it out. You might not need to do this on every space, but maybe just a few where your coloring went outside of the lines a little bit. I hope you had fun starting your optical illusion inspired by the artist Jen Stark. I can't wait to see how yours turns out.